Wetin happen?
She asked with fake concern.
They put charm under my shop. Look what I just found.
Mama Kemi cried, showing the cursed coffin.
Charm? You dey find who wan kill you? Abi you don dey set yourself up to look like victim?
Mama Tope snapped.
Which shop then they dig for midnight like thief?
House 17. The sun had barely risen when the loud clatter of a broken plastic bucket echoed through the dusty compound of House 17, Boundary Lane, Ajegunle. The rusting gate squeaked open as the first child of the day ran out to fetch water, his feet splashing into the puddle that never seemed to dry up no matter the season. The air was thick with the smell of kerosene, soaked clothes and fried akara from Mama Reese's roadside store. This was not just any place, it was strange life. A kind of community that knew secrets even before you whispered them. Among the 9 families that lived in House 17, 2 women stood out like stubborn stains on white fabric, Mama Kemi and Mama Tope. They weren't just neighbors, they were next door neighbors, sharing a wall so thin. They often had each other's arguments, sighs, prayers, and even curses. They had shops directly beside each other on the main road, selling the exact same things: beans, yam, Maggi cubes, sachet water, onions, and every type of provision a struggling Nigerian household would need. But beneath this false proximity was a silent war brewing. Not the type you read in newspapers. This was spiritual, personal, and dangerous. Mama Kemi was the type of woman whose strength came from silence, always in her white scarf and worn slippers. She never missed Sundays or Wednesday services at her church. She always studied her Bible and she knew the verses by heart. Mama Tope, on the other hand, was no ordinary woman. Sharp-mouthed, heavy-hipped, with gold-plated teeth that shone when she laughed, but beneath that laughter hid envy. Her husband Alhaji Wasiu was feared in the entire area. No one knew what he really did, but strange men in long white kaftans came to their house at odd hours. Chickens disappeared, insects burned constantly, and everyone knew he consulted the gods of the dark. Alhaji Wasiu hated failure, so when his wife's shop remained empty while Mama Kemi thrived, even during fuel scarcity or market strikes, he decided it was time to reset the balance. One rainy night, Mama Tope returned from the shop furious.
Kemi don't use charm for customers so,
she shouted as she poured sand off her slippers.
Even when I reduce price past her, them go still go buy from her shop.
Alhaji Wasiu, puffing on a thick roll of snuff, replied calmly.
There are ways to collect what belongs to you. If it is her head that's in your way, we will shift it spiritually.
That night, Wasiu packed a calabash with 3 cowries, ashes, a pigeon feather, and a lock of hair he had paid a compound child to steal from Kemi's daughter's comb. He left before dawn. By morning, Kemi's 8-year-old daughter Blessing, who had never been sick a day in her life, was burning up with fever. Her body twitched uncontrollably and her eyes rolled back into her head. Mama Kemi panicked. No hospital had answers. Tests showed nothing. The next day, 5 of her regular customers returned angry.
You sold us cost rice,
they shouted. One slapped her. Her sales dropped. Rumors spread.
I hear say she dey go one white garment church to collect spirit power. Abeg o, I no dey buy from her again. All her beans dey get weevils.
Mama Kemi cried alone. Her husband, Basonde, begged her to rest the shop and let things pass. But Mama Kemi knew this was more than market wahala. This was spiritual war. That weekend, she went for vigil at her church. After the 3rd hour of praise and prophetic chants, Prophetess Deborah called her out. Mama Kemi, who do you live beside? She asked, her eyes rolling like river tides. Someone with a bleeding heart. Someone whose husband wears white but walks in shadows. The entire congregation gasped. There is something buried at the root of your store. Something placed to shut your destiny. Mama Kemi broke into tears. The prophetess continued. You must go alone at midnight. Anoint your hands with Psalm 35 oil. Dig beneath your store, and when you find it, do not burn it. Bring it to me. That night, as thunder rumbled and the compound generator hummed weakly, Mama Kemi waited until everyone was asleep. With trembling hands and a torch tied to her wrapper, she stepped into the darkness towards her shop. She didn't know that Mama Tope was watching her from the window, smiling, sipping ogogoro from a bottle shaped like a skull. The real war had just begun. Compound was dead silent, except for the rhythmic dripping of rainwater from a cracked gutter and the distant sound of a downfall horn from the main road. Mama Kemi's slippers squished softly into the muddy sand as she tiptoed toward her store. She looked back one last time to be sure no one was watching. She didn't know that Mama Tope's eyes, glowing faintly under the shimmer of candlelight, was perched behind her window's curtain, whispering words she was never supposed to say out loud. Inside her store, Mama Kemi lit a small hurricane lamp. Her hand trembled as she dipped her fingers into the bottle of Psalm 35 oil and rubbed it on her forehead, muttering prayers.
Let those who seek to destroy me be put to shame. Let their evil return back to sender.
Then she began to dig with a rusted spoon, too scared to use a shovel and make noise. The soft sand was unusually damp, sticky, foul-smelling. It didn't take long before her fingers hit something. Wood. She dug further and uncovered a small handmade coffin, wrapped in black clothes, bound with red thread and soaked in what smelled like palm oil, dry gin and blood. Her heart stopped. Inside the coffin were 3 items: a small clay pot filled with bones and hair, a paper with blessings' names scrawled in blood red ink, a dead lizard with its stomach split open and stuffed with dried pepper. She screamed. Doors swung open. Sleeping neighbors started coming out, including the landlord, Chief Ajegunle, shirtless and chewing bitter cola. But before anyone could reach her, Mama Tope appeared, already dressed in her wrapper, pretending to have just woken up.
Wetin happen?
She asked with fake concern.
They put charm under my shop. Look what I just found.
Mama Kemi cried, showing the cursed coffin.
Charm? You dey find who wan kill you? Abi you don dey set yourself up to look like victim?
Mama Tope snapped.
Which shop then they dig for midnight like thief?
The neighbors started murmuring. Some believed her, some didn't. The landlord held his hand up.
Oya carry am go church. Let prophets confirm whether na real juju or na just drama.
That morning, the whole compound followed Mama Kemi to church, out of fear, out of doubts, and out of nosy curiosity. Inside the church, Prophetess Deborah took one look at the box and fell to the ground, shaking. "This is not ordinary, oh," she shouted. "This is Abiku binding mixed spiritual suppression. They tied her child to the spirit of premature death and covered her shop with darkness." Women screamed, even the landlord staggered. "And the person who did this," she added, "is in your compound, oh. A woman whose hands are dirty but her wrappers are white. A woman who pretends to be happy when you succeed but dances when you suffer. Her husband carries death in a calabash." Everyone's eyes shifted to Mama Tope. She hissed and walked out of the church. From that day, the compound became a war zone. Team Kemi versus Team Tope. Those who still bought from Mama Tope's shop accused of supporting evil. Those who stayed neutral were caught in gossip wars.
Na she be the real winch for this compound,
said Mama Fozia under her breath.
I talk am before. See as her husband dey carry chicken go Ijebu every week.
But Mama Tope wasn't done. That night, she told Alhaji Wasiu everything.
Your charm no work. The woman see am. The church expose am. Now they point finger at me. You must finish this battle once and for all.
Alhaji Wasiu nodded calmly.
There is a deeper charm, one that eats the soul of a person. But if it backfires, it won't only burn her, it will burn this entire compound.
3 nights later, Mama Kemi had a dream. A python wrapped in white clothes slithered into her home and swallowed her daughter whole. She woke up screaming, drenched in sweat. By morning, Blessing was coughing blood. Kemi rushed her to 3 hospitals. All tests came out normal. One doctor shook his head and whispered,
"This is not medical."
She ran back to Prophetess Deborah. The woman placed her hand on Blessing's head and began to chant. Suddenly, she stopped.
The child is not sick. Her spirit has been locked in a clay pot. We must pray to break it before the 7th night, or she will slip away in her sleep.
That night, Mama Kemi stood in her small room, holding a candle, praying like her life depended on it. Her voice cracked, her hands trembled. Meanwhile, Alhaji stood barefoot behind a shrine, chanting with fire in his eyes, calling on spirits older than the trees. It was the 5th night since Mama Kemi found the cursed coffin. Her daughter Blessing had stopped eating. Her eyes no longer followed movement. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. She was there, but not really there. Mama Kemi hadn't slept. She lit candles in every corner of their one-room apartment. Psalms played on her transistor radio. Every hour, she anointed Blessing's feet with olive oil and whispered prayers between sobs.
Jehovah, don't let me bury my child. This girl is innocent.
Meanwhile, across the wall, Alhaji had entered total silence. He no longer spoke to his children. He no longer slept on the bed. He now slept in the bedroom, with a broken mirror facing him and 7 incantation marks drawn on the tiles in charcoal. Each night, he spoke to something no one could see, something that answered with winds, shadows and whispers.
Take her spirit,
he hissed one night,
but leave her body to suffer. Let the world know I am not to be challenged.
But something was shifting. For the first time in his life, Alhaji saw a vision. A woman in white, barefoot, holding a broom of light. She walked through the compound and sweat fire at every door. When she reached his, she paused and smiled. Then everything went dark. He woke up choking. The following day, a tragedy shattered the silence. Mama Fauzia's youngest son, Suleiman, age 4, was found dead behind the water tank. No blood, no bruise, no sign of trauma, just a perfectly healthy child gone. Screams filled the air. Women tore their wrappers. Children ran to hide. The entire compound gathered, confused, scared, angry. The landlord, Chief Ajegunle, stood before them holding a loudspeaker.
This compound is cursed. Too much spiritual wahala. Someone among us is bringing death to our doors.
I turned to Mama Kemi again, and then to Mama Tope.
People are dying. Children are convulsing, shops are burning, and you both are the only ones dragging us into church and shrine every week.
Fights broke out. Someone slapped someone. A stone flew through a window. A bench was broken. Police were called, but they refused to enter the compound.
Una dey play with things wey pass una level.
One officer mumbled.
We know they enter this kind place.
In the middle of the chaos, Mama Kemi was summoned by her church. She arrived thinking it was for another round of prayer. Instead, she met Prophetess Deborah sitting with her face covered.
Sister Kemi,
she said softly,
I have something to confess.
Mama Kemi froze.
Years ago, I prayed for you to prosper, but I also prayed for you to leave this compound because I saw danger. I never told you because I wanted you to stand strong, but I didn't see this much death. I didn't know the man next door would go this far. You knew?
Mama Kemi whispered, tears falling.
You saw this pain coming and said nothing? Sometimes, God tells us things not to speak, but to intercede. I failed, and now the entire compound is paying the price.
Mama Kemi stood slowly, her hands shaking.
You are not just my prophetess. You are my only cover, and now I am exposed.
That night, as the wind howled and lanterns flickered, a stranger entered the compound, dressed in a dirty abada, barefoot with long grey dreadlocks. His eyes were pale white. He spoke to no one. He walked straight to Mama Tope's window and whispered,
He has gone too far. The price has been paid, but it wasn't his to pay.
Then he vanished. Mama Tope screamed. She collapsed. Alhaji rushed out of the room, shirtless, sweating. Then, the entire compound watched as he walked to the center of the courtyard. He raised his hands and shouted,
Want to break me? You think prayer can stop me? She came from me, but now death will visit every household that mocks me.
As he said the last word, the sky roared. Not thunder, a roar. Every light in the compound flickered. Buckets tipped over. Goats cried. A baby began to bleed from their nose. Now Mama Kemi knew it was time. She tied her scarf, she lifted her oil, she walked barefoot to the compound center.
Wasiu, tonight we settle this, but not by power, not by might, only by the spirit of the living God.
As she stepped forward, Alhaji Wasu's eyes turned back, his mouth opened, but another voice came out. You dare challenge us again? Then your flesh will burn, your soul will wander, your name will be forgotten. The compound washed frozen. Horses stood in the rain, one backed by chant and incense, the other armed only with faith and a cracked Bible. And then the ground shook. It wasn't thunder anymore, it was wailing. The kind that didn't come from any living thing. It echoed from above, yet vibrated beneath the ground. Many screamed and scattered into their rooms, slamming doors, picking through lovier blades. But no one could look away from what was happening in the center of the compound. Mama Kemi stood still, soaking wet, barefoot, clutching a Bible with her trembling hands. Alhaji Wasiu stood across her, arms raised, white clothes tied around his forehead, now soaked in red palm oil. His eyes rolled backward, his voice no longer sounded human.
You will be warned.
The voice inside him growled.
Now you will bleed. One by one, every soul in this compound will suffer.
Children cried. An old woman fainted. Even Mama Tope backed away slowly, whispering,
Wasiu, what is this?
Mama Kemi fell to her knees, hands lifted high.
O Lord of hosts, you are the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Let your fire fall.
A flash of light cut through the dark sky, and suddenly, Alhaji Wasiu dropped to the ground like a sack of yam. But he didn't stay down. He crawled toward her like a possessed animal, foaming, growling. She didn't run. Instead, she threw her Bible directly at him, hitting his chest. He screamed and then vanished. The ground where he fell was dry and empty. 3 hours passed. The rain stopped. The compound remained silent. No one dared speak. The landlord gathered everyone and declared a 7-day fast. But before dawn, Mama Tope vanished. Her wrapper still on the line, her paw still boiling yam, her children crying inside alone. She was gone, no bags, no slippers, no trace. The police came again, they searched, nothing. Then one tenant, Mama Bisi, stepped forward holding something she found by the water tank. A torn paper wrapped in nylon. On it was written, "They warned me, but I followed him. Now I must pay the price beneath the earth." While the compound shook with rumors and mourning, Mama Kemi remained quiet until Prophetess Deborah returned. She asked to speak with Mama Kemi alone.
There's something you must know about your daughter Blessing,
she said.
What is it?
Mama Kemi asked, clutching her chest.
When you were younger, do you remember your aunt that took care of you in the village?
Mama Kemi nodded.
Yes, Mama Fumilayo. She was not your aunt. She was your birth mother. She gave you up to a barren couple for safety. And Blessing, she is the last born of a priestful lineage meant to end generational curses. That's why Wasiu targeted her. She carries a light that would destroy his altar.
Mama Kemi broke down. Every hardship now made sense. Every unexplained attack, every sickness.
But there's one final step. If you want this compound cleansed permanently, a sacrifice must be made. What sacrifice?
Mama Kemi asked.
Not blood,
she said softly,
but exile. You must leave the compound. Leave everything. Blessing must be raised on holy ground, far from the stench of these trenches.
Mama Kemi gasped.
Leave my home, my business, after all this? If you stay, more will die. She will be haunted again. The spirits of this soil have tasted too much darkness. It's no longer fertile for life.
The next morning, the compound woke up to find Mama Kemi's stall empty. Her door open, her room swept clean. No trace, only a note pinned to the zinc wall. The fire has passed, but the smoke still lingers. Raise your children in truth. Choose your gods carefully, because one day the ground will speak again. Years later, a girl named Blessing, now living in a small prayer mountain village in Osun, began having visions. And somewhere deep beneath house 17, a faint voice whispered, "She is back." 15 years passed. The zinc roofs of House 17, Boundary Lane, Ajegunle were older now, rusted at the edges, some replaced with plastic sheets and worn-out banners from campaign rallies. The compound remained the same in many ways, overcrowded, loud, always leaking secrets, but something had shifted. People said the compound was peaceful now. No more convulsions, no more mysterious deaths, but beneath the silence, the air still listened, waiting. Then one Saturday evening, a dark-skinned woman in a cream kaftan and white sneakers stepped out of a boat ride, holding a small Ghana must-go bag and a Bible pressed to her chest. She walked into the compound. No one recognized her, not the new landlord, not the mama that now sold corn at the gate, not even the old gatesman whose eyes had gone misty with age, but the earth knew her. The wind paused, a tree branch snapped, and far beneath the surface, a quiet voice whispered, "She has returned." Her name was Blessing, now 23, tall, radiant, quiet, but with a strange glow that made even small children pause when she passed. She had returned to reclaim what was hers, not the shop, not the room, but the truth. She knocked on a neighbor's door, Mama BC, one of the few original tenants who hadn't moved out.
Good evening, ma. Ha! Yes, my dear, who are you looking for? My name is Blessing, daughter of Mama Kemi.
The cup in Mama BC's hand dropped. Things had changed in House 17. A new tenant, Madam Christie, now occupied Mama Tope's old room. She was a single woman in her late 40s, wealthy, arrogant, with long nails and 3 cats that never blinked. She ran a shop too, same spot as Mama Tope, same items, same mocking smile. She drove a red Toyota Venza, always had visitors at night, and strangely, her room never had power outage, even when others were in darkness. Whispered had started again. A baby cried non-stop for 5 nights. 2 women had miscarriages in the same month. A dog barked every night, staring at Madame Christie's door. And then a tenant died mysteriously, his face twisted in fear, and palms burnt black. That same week, Blessing had a vision. She was standing in the compound. All the doors were open. Everyone inside was sleeping, but a dark winged creature floated above the zincs, dropping ashes and whispering curses. The creature turned to her and said, "You came back too late. We have started feeding again." She woke up gasping. She reached into her bag and pulled out the last item her mother had given her before dying, a white stone wrapped in cloth, soaked in holy oil. She kissed it.
You didn't die in vain, Mama.
That night, a heavy thunderstorm rolled in. The compound flooded. Buckets flew. Children screamed. Blessing stood in the corner again, just like her mother had. This time holding a torch, the stone and a bell. She rang it once, twice, 3 times. Doors flung open on their own. Madame Christie stepped out, fully dressed in red, holding a black staff.
You came here to die like your mother? No,
Blessing said calmly.
I came to bury you.
With one swift move, Madame Christie smashed the staff to the ground. The compound trembled. Every bulb burst. Her 3 cats turned into shadows and hissed. But Blessing remained silent. She threw the white stone to the ground.
Let the blood of the righteous speak.
A blinding light exploded from the ground. Madame Christie screamed, fell to her knees, and began to melt. Not physically, but spiritually. Her voice began to shift, becoming younger, older, then demonic.
You were never supposed to survive, Blessing.
And yet, I did. Madame Christie's body slumped to the ground. Her cat ran into the dark, never to be seen again. As dawn broke, Blessing sat with Mama BC and told her the truth.
My mother didn't just pray. She fought for every soul in this compound. She gave her peace so others could sleep. Now I have closed the portal. No more death here.
Before leaving, she took one last walk around the compound. She knelt, kissed the soil, and whispered,
May peace live here forever.
As she walked out of the gate, the sun broke through the clouds. For the first time in years, a rainbow arched above House 17. At the end of it all, Blessing left victoriously, and there was a rumor of Blessing becoming a great prophetess in the mountain of Ekiti. The moral of this story is that anyone doing evil should desist from evil, for at the end of the day, there is no peace for the wicked. Hello fam, thank you for watching through to the end of this video. Please consider subscribing if you are yet to do that, like and share this video, and until we meet on our next story, bye.